Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a Christmas card to share with you. This actually was the last Christmas card that I created last year. And actually that is not correct because funny story, I went through the drawer with all of the digital stamps that I've printed. Sometimes I print them twice in case I like the card and I want to recreate, which I never do. Because I don't want to repeat myself. And I went through the drawer and all of a sudden I found this image colored in. And I remembered that back in the day, I was already on the design team by Rachelle Anne Miller, but back in the day when she released this image, or she was going to release it, I actually colored it in for the release day, but I never got to create a card with it. So I was a bit hesitant to use this image because, well, the coloring already happened. And so I went through my phone, because I film with my phone, just so you know. I'm an amateur, but I went through my phone to see whether I actually filmed this coloring and if it was still on my phone, because I purchased a new one when needed. So I went through the phone and I found this part of this video, the coloring, and I can tell you that I colored this image, I filmed the coloring of this image on the 13th of November 2021. Really, really. No joke. So that is the date that is on the coloring of this image. But I was really glad I retrieved the video, because this way I could try to make a card with it. So this card went really quickly because the coloring already happened back then. The coloring with Copic Markers, and I must admit that I was really happy when I saw this image and how it was colored, because throughout the years your coloring changes. It is like that. You want to say no, but also the cards that I created, well, I started really simple because I didn't have a lot of supplies, and then it went a bit more intricate, and then I created all the time scenes. And then a few years back, I think I found out that clean and simple exists as well, and it's great as well. So you know, you can color something today and retrieve it, which is horrible. You should just create with it. But if you don't use it, you can find it back in a few years in your craft room, and it can just be completely aside your taste that is going on at that point. So I was happy with the coloring of this one, really happy with it. So I'm glad that I can share it with you today, finally. And then I created a really simple card with it, clean and simple. But I mean, clean and simple, you can say tons of things about it. It can be just one image, and tons of white. It can be one image and part of your card ink blended. It can be your panel ink blended, one image. It can be multiple images, no background. It can clean and simple can be done in so many ways that everyone is able to make clean and simple cards. And some people are scared of white, which is something that I can truly admit that in the beginning I was scared to leave too much white, that my card wasn't going to be interesting enough. But I got used to it, you know. You know my style, so you know that I'm okay with wide areas. But then you have these digital stamps, by example, by Rachelle Anne Miller, and there is a complete scene going on. It is like that. So even if you keep your background completely white, you have this lovely scene that is in the center of your card, and it draws the attention, and it's perfect, you know. So I think it's also Rachelle Anne Miller. I think it's these digital stamps that actually got me into clean and simple, because the image itself is so gorgeous that you don't want to touch it too much or distract from it too much. I colored this image in, and actually I think it can work great just as is. I searched for a sentiment stamp today, well, when I created this card. And then I decided to add a tiny background myself, but you don't even have to add a tiny background. Okay, I also remember that when I colored this image, I was kind of in this period trying to make more dramatic backgrounds, or in part of the scene that is going on. And so I went from really dark to a lighter area, and I got some lovely comments on Instagram. Also, someone saying that the sky is just wonderful. Well, yes, it is, but as you can see throughout the making, it just, I was like, this isn't going anywhere. What am I doing? And I just kept adding. Okay, so here also I had this really, really light blue, and the thing is that I wanted to have kind of a moon kind of vibe here. It ended up being light blue. It's not white completely, but thanks to the lighter markers, you can really fade out at the edges. So I just kept adding until I was happy, you know. And then something that also really helps if you want to do this is tip to tip for the edges here. But also if you're, something that I notice when I do backgrounds like this, or also ink blending, and it's not perfect, but it's kind of getting there, you know, you see the intention. Um, it's just adding stars, adding snow, adding just flicking the colors that you ink blended with on top. It's distracting you from maybe a few hiccups that you created. So if you have an ink blended panel, inks, or just your markers, and you're not 100% about it, before throwing it away, maybe you should splatter a bit. And depending on what kind of card you're creating, you can splatter some white gouache, you can splatter just your inks, you can add some dots from your marker, you can add things and see whether that works. Okay, so here, in my opinion, this was a sheet, and I really wanted it to have a bit more volume, so that's why I tried to add kind of these dents in it, so that it's like draped on top. Don't know if it worked, but if you like it, thanks. Uh, I'm happy with it. That's important. The creator must be happy with the end result. So here I'm just adding my darkest colors, building up to get my ink blending that I want. Also, color combinations are on my blog post if you want to revisit them. That's just always handy to have on hand, that you can find over there. And then the little girl is going to be blonde. If I had colored it in today, it was going to be with brown hair, as you know, because my little girl has brown hair and I'm just addicted. Um, but blonde works as well. And the dark already got some dark brown colors. The little girl is going to have some green as her pajama or clothing or anything. And you see the whole coloring that I did back in the day in 2021 is almost done. I just really love this digital stamp. I am so annoyed actually by myself that I didn't make a card with it and didn't got to share it earlier with you guys. But well, things happen. But I'm glad I'm sharing it today. So really simple coloring. I'm also trying to follow the lines of her hair to just give it volume. But however you want to color it, that's just perfectly fine. You do you. Also, the details in the hair, from the leaves and the berries, I'm just covering it up. While coloring your hair, I'm going to go over it with some greens and some reds, and those will cover up the fact that I didn't avoid coloring into it with the blonde hair. So I'm just adding a tiny bit of color. So one of the parts that took the most time was actually adding all those stars. And you can probably imagine, lately I have been adding white jelly roll pen details to tons of images. I'm not going to do it here because we have kind of a realistic scene, although she's really adorable and, well. But adding white jelly roll pen details or stars manually should not be underestimated. It takes some time. And also the thinking about it. Like, everyone thinks that stars, or also white jelly roll pen details, are kind of random, but it's just the fact that you want to let it appear random that makes it really, really hard and not random at all. But that only we will ever understand, I think. Well, also, I had to darken it up a bit more. You see, it really was a process and I really wasn't convinced about it. But seeing it now and everything, just trust the process, I would say. And add stars if you're not 100%. But also, this is a night sky, you know. You can also not create a night sky and just have it like a really wintry scene in the background. If you're able to like draw yourself some trees, you can let her watch like a snowy landscape with the dog because it's too cold outside and such things. You don't need to create a night sky behind this window. So the white jelly roll pen, it's just adding stars. Some can be thicker, some can be thinner, some real stars that are shining I will add as well. Just keep adding until you're happy. Like in Belgium, there is tons of lights on the streets. It's not everywhere, but here it is, and there is like a lot of light pollution. So here to have a lovely night sky as I am drawing in here, it doesn't happen a lot because there are just too many lights at night on the street. I know it's for security and people want to feel safe and such. But if you want to like see a lovely starry sky, you need to go to like the woods or outside Belgium. And that's just a shame. I don't like the light pollution. I like a bit of lights in really busy areas maybe, but it should be kind of limited as well. Also, my daughter, she's sleeping at the side of the street and there is like a light pole right in front of her window. It's gorgeous. So it annoys me more and more since I have my little girl because I just see the lights coming into a room and we don't have currently something to completely mask off her window, so just annoying. Okay, here I'm adding the sentiment. The sentiment that I'm using, finally, is the Cozy Christmas Eve by Hello Bluebird. I added some, well, highlights on the eyes of the girl, and then I decided to create a tiny bit of background. Actually, I wanted to stamp out with the background stamp that you can see there, some stripes on the background. But since I created this, well, since I colored this image a while back, I didn't have the sizing of this image anymore. And so I didn't create a mask at that point. So it was going to be a bit tricky to stamp out a background stamp. And so I took my T-square ruler and I just created some lines myself with really light marker. It didn't have to be the same sizing for me. It's just like a piece of wallpaper maybe, just a tiny bit. And I really love how it turned out. I'm also happy that I kept the bottom white completely so that there is kind of a difference. You can see it as background and grounding. You don't have to, it's just, these are just some stripes, but I really love that I added them. It's really soft and maybe I have to do this more, create my own stripe background, just really softly with some Copics. I also use the ruler to help me, to guide me, but I'm free-handedly coloring it in and going over the lines. It doesn't have to be perfect. But that is my card. I'm going to add the panel to a card base, and it's all finished. It's all done, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. I'm really ecstatic. I'm so glad I found this video so that I could still share it with you, and I hope that today's video can inspire you as well. Thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I promise that I'll be back soon with some more craft inspiration, and I wish you all an incredible day. Bye!